You've heard Trump's promise.
I'm going to be a dictator for one day.
History shows there are no one-day dictatorships. When democracies fall, they typically fall completely. In a previous video, I laid out the defining traits of fascism and how MAGA Republicans embody them. But how could Trump, or someone like him, actually turn America into a fascist state? Here's how, in 5 steps. Step number 1, use threats of violence to gain power. Hitler and Mussolini relied on their vigilante militias to intimidate voters and local officials. We watched Trump try to do the same in 2020.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Republican election officials testified to the threats they faced when they refused Trump's demands to falsify the election results.
My email, my cell phone was doxxed.
They have had video panel trucks with videos of me proclaiming me to be a pedophile.
A 20-something tech in Gwinnett County today has death threats and a noose put out saying he should be hung for treason.
If the election is close, threats to voters and election officials could be enough to sabotage it. Step number 2, consolidate power. After taking office, a would-be fascist must turn every arm of government into a tool of the party. One of Hitler's first steps was to take over the civil service, purging it of non-Nazis. In October of 2020, Trump issued his own executive order that would have enabled him to fire tens of thousands of civil servants and replace them with MAGA loyalists. He never got to act on it, but he's now promising to apply it to the entire civil service.
We will pass critical reforms, making every executive branch employee fireable.
That's become the centerpiece of something called Project 2025, a presidential agenda assembled by MAGA Republicans that would, as the AP puts it, dismantle the U.S. government and replace it with Trump's vision. Step 3, establish a police state. Hitler used the imaginary threat of the poison of foreign races to justify taking control of the military and police, placing both under his top general and granting law enforcement powers to his civilian militias. Now Trump is using the same language.
It's poisoning the blood of our country.
Trump plans to deploy troops within the U.S. to conduct immigration raids and round up what he estimates to be 18 million people who would be placed in mass detention camps while their fate is decided. And even though crime is actually down across the nation, Trump is citing an imaginary crime wave to justify sending troops into blue cities and states against the will of governors and mayors.
You're supposed to not be involved in that. You just have to be asked by the governor or the mayor to come in. The next time, I'm not waiting.
Trump insiders say he plans to invoke the Insurrection Act to have the military crush civilian protests. We saw a glimpse of that in 2020, when Trump deployed the National Guard against peaceful protesters outside the White House. And with promises to pardon January 6 criminals and stop prosecutions of right-wing domestic terrorists, Trump would empower groups like the Proud Boys to act as MAGA enforcers. Step 4, jail the opposition. In classic dictatorial fashion, Trump is now openly threatening to prosecute his opponents.
If I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them. They'd be out of the election.
And he's looking to remake the Justice Department into a tool for his personal vendettas.
As we completely overhaul the Federal Department of Justice and FBI, we will also launch sweeping civil rights investigations into Marxist local district attorneys.
In the model of Hitler and Mussolini, Trump describes his opponents as subhuman.
The radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country.
Step number 5, undermine the free press. As Hitler well understood, a fascist needs to control the flow of information. Trump has been attacking the press for years.
They are truly the enemy of the people.
And he's threatening to punish news outlets whose coverage he dislikes. He has helped to reduce trust in the media to such a historic low that his supporters now view him as their most trusted source of information. Within a democracy, we may often have leaders we don't like, but we have the power to change them at the ballot box and through public pressure. Once fascism takes hold, those freedoms are gone and cannot easily be won back. We must recognize the threat of fascism when it appears and do everything in our power to stop it.